Please welcome Kendrick.
Kendrick, it's a little bit surreal to actually see you in the flesh because you've always made it a point of just letting the music speak for yourself, which is something I really respect. But the spotlight has been shining so brightly on you for the past few months. I've just been wondering how you've been processing behind the scenes, how you've been feeling about everything happening, all the success.
Mumble your way and gimmick your way to a song no more, buddy. So thank y'all.
All them mumble rappers out there, let them know. That mumble stuff is over.
Apparently, going by how it was pulled off, the Super Bowl takedown of Drake wasn't just a spur-of-the-moment thing. Kendrick Lamar shattered the Super Bowl halftime show record, pulling in a jaw-dropping 130 million views, arguably the highest in history. Meanwhile, Drake's been looking more clueless by the day, and now he's taken his feud with Kendrick to a whole new level by targeting Snoop Dogg for siding with Kendrick. What makes this even crazier is, Snoop is the one playing the role of an OG, a figure of respect in the game. There's been enough blood on the streets and he wouldn't want to go down that way again. If anything, he seems to be trying to cool things. So, while these rappers are having a feud, he only sees it as a part of the rap game. Drake spent years bragging about his exclusive UMG deal, flexing his ties with the industry's greatest and acting like he was untouchable. But now, it's all backfiring in the worst way. Fans are saying he played himself by signing a deal with the devil, thinking he was some kind of chosen one, and now he's paying the price. But instead of playing it smart, Drake is hitting the self-destruct button. First, he sued the very label that handed him a $400 million deal. Bold move, to say the least. And now, he's coming after Snoop Dogg. At this point, it's looking like Drake's career is about to self-destruct because nothing he's been doing lately is making any sense. Was this Drake's fate all along? Why is he moving like he's on a mission to burn down what's left of his reputation? Let's get right into it. Right now, the Drake versus Kendrick feud is getting hotter by the day, taking a new turn. Now it has blown out of proportion as rap and hip-hop stars pick sides. It's getting crazy. The East Coast-West Coast beef is not a new thing to Snoop Dogg, and it is still fresh on our minds. So when Drake uses an AI voice of Tupac and Snoop in his track, he's going too far, dragging legends of the game into his feud and digging up old wounds. Drake is spiraling into what looks like total self-sabotage. The image he spent years building is crumbling. Lately, Drake has been moving recklessly, and after Kendrick's record-breaking Super Bowl performance, the spiral is getting way more obvious. He's back to posting non-stop on his Finsta, and while some of it is promo for his upcoming collab album with Party Next Door, this isn't just about music. Drake is once again escalating his war with Kendrick, making moves that could land him in even bigger trouble than he's already in. As you already know, Drake went nuclear last month, filing a federal defamation lawsuit against his own label, UMG. He's claiming they rigged the game to boost Kendrick's diss track Not Like Us, accusing them of artificially inflating streams and knowingly letting a song that falsely paints him as a PDF file go mega viral. Running to the courts over a rap beef instead of handling it head-on was already a bad look. But now Drake is taking things even further and making it deeply personal. And like clockwork, when he's got a problem with a man, he goes after the women in their lives instead. This time, his target, Snoop Dogg. But instead of this being a power move, it's backfiring hard. Fans are dragging Drake for being completely out of touch and proving once again that he has zero self-awareness. They're saying this is just another desperate attempt to deflect from the real issue. And instead of confronting Kendrick directly, he's going after someone who has nothing to do with the beef. And what makes this even worse? This isn't the first time Drake has taken cheap instead of stepping up to the people he's beefing with. Back when he was at war with Meek Mill, who did he take jabs at? Everyone else. Drake's pattern of dragging everyone into his beefs is impossible to ignore. Snoop Dogg has severally stated that he wouldn't be involved in anyone's feud. He has a name and legacy to protect, as most of the rappers see him as an icon. But that didn't stop Drake from taking a jab at Snoop for siding with Kendrick. But what was Snoop supposed to do? You watch someone hustle through the ranks and give him the crown. Now you want to turn your back? It's not possible. Let's not forget they share a common root. Snoop Dogg has been trying to play neutral the whole time with this beef, but we all know where his alliances are. Although he has had a number of collaborations with Drake and showered accolades on him, he even called him one of the greatest rappers at some point. Remember that in Kendrick's album GNX, he made some slight references to the Drake beef. On the opening track, Waxed Out Murals, he rapped about his surprise that Snoop Dogg reposted Drake's diss track, Tailor Made Freestyle, to his Instagram story. In fact, the track Heart PT's 6 Inches incidentally has the same name as one of Drake's disses. Snoop Dogg believes their feud has raised the bar on the rap game as he considers it a competition, but Kendrick felt he went too far, expecting him to look out for him more. So when Snoop reposted the track, Kendrick was pissed. Snoop later called to apologize, claiming he was high on edibles and he didn't think much of it at the time. Maybe part of what has added fuel to the feud is that Kendrick's Not Like Us earned 5 Grammy nominations, including for Record and Song of the Year, and Drake did not get any nods, because things were not always like this. Back in the day, Drake and Kendrick were upcoming artists and best of friends. They collaborated on a couple of tracks. That didn't last long though. The beef almost died at a point. Sometime in June last year, fans noticed all of Drake's posts on Instagram referencing the beef, including the post promoting the diss track, The Heart Part 6, had been quietly deleted, weeks after Drake seemed to indicate he would be putting the rap battle behind him in an IG story post that read, "Good times, summer vibes up next." Next thing we know is seeing Kendrick performing his Drake diss tracks for the first time at his The Pop Out Ken and Friends concert, including 5 straight performances of Not Like Us, in which the rapper on the stage flanked by dozens of Los Angeles native celebrities. Among these stars were rappers YG and Dr. Dre and NBA players DeMar DeRozan and Russell Westbrook. The East Coast-West Coast hip-hop rivalry is still fresh on our minds. Anyone who knows the history of rap and hip-hop game knows the hot dispute between artists and fans of both hip-hop scenes, especially around the 90s. We know about Biggie, signed by Puff Daddy and Bad Boy Records. We know what led to the Tupac and the Notorious B.I.G. murders. Hit songs have been made on this, and there was even a peace pact to put an end to such. But these upcoming rappers ain't playing with no one. If not, why would Drake be threatening murder? All he has done was drag anyone and everyone in the industry who has not backed him in his feud with Kendrick. Because of the South Coast origins, Snoop must support Kendrick even though he's playing neutral, which made Kendrick angry. As contemporaries, Kendrick and Drake have both had successful musical careers, with each man atop the US Billboard Hot 100 multiple times. That is, 5 for Kendrick, 13 for Drake. They've even lent their talents to songs together, including on Kendrick's Poetic Justice, A$AP Rocky's Problems, and Drake's Buried Alive interlude. The war of words between the rappers reached a recent peak last year when Kendrick dissed Drake on Like That, featuring Metro Boomin and Future. Things started getting sour between them as early as 2013. Remember when Kendrick dropped that explosive verse beast on Big Sean's Control? Kadot went in hard, airing out everyone in the whole rap game without mercy, including Drake. That joint nearly shook hip-hop to its foundations. Kendrick was not playing. That verse right there started the whole thing off. There had to be a response. All of hip-hop knew what was coming. In 2011, there was a historic moment. On stage, The Game and Snoop basically passed the torch to Kendrick. Yes, and Kendrick had such an emotional reaction. That was kind of a real turning point. Well, at that time, The Game was the one carrying the torch. The Game was like he was in it. He was busting. He was wobbling. He was holding it down gangster. He was on tours. He was selling hella deal records. Hit after hit, he was doing great. He was holding the West Coast down. And to have The Game pass the torch to Kendrick Lamar in public was kind of a big deal. It's like sort of a West Coast thing. They give the crown to whoever is like accordingly running the thing. Yeah, so Game obviously on stage with Snoop, it was just like he was the one, and there was no discussion. They see all the work that he did prior to him getting the crown, and after he got the crown, he's demonstrated truly being a king. But throughout all the drama, Kendrick was dismayed by Snoop appearing to endorse Drake by sharing his post. Kendrick also discussed it, saying when Snoop heard him talk about his whacked-out murals and posting the Taylor freestyle, he didn't condemn it. Instead, he reposted it and said it was the edibles. Snoop replied, calling Lamar his nephew and a rapper who has matured in the rap industry. According to Snoop, Kendrick had every right to voice his concerns. He prefers that Kendrick had chosen to come to him directly with his concern about his role and how he is being perceived. This is particularly important because coming from the same roots, they both have a relationship within the industry circles, and Kendrick sees Snoop as his big homeboy. Snoop apologized, saying he was high on edibles. In all the feud, we all know where Snoopy is. You can't be a part of someone's success and not support them. You're glad to see them rise. But what's your take on all the wild moves Drake's been making lately? Do you think he's just spiraling, or is there something deeper going on? What really happened between Drake and Snoop Dogg? And most importantly, can Drake ever do such a thing as Unalive Snoop Dogg, talk less of bouncing back to his former glory? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Don't forget to like, share and subscribe, and see you on the next one.